Hello, everybody. Renee Michaelis here, and hopefully, I could get through this video without any more noises and distractions. Each and every time I try to make this video, noise, distraction, door slams, yelling. I just, so much noise here. It's been hard to just get through this video. Anyway, last night somebody stolen my wallet and my Kindle, and I think it was that 13-year-old boy. I wasn't stolen at home. I was stolen at work, and as you guys know, I work near the projects. I mean, I live in a good neighborhood. All my neighbors are nice. I love my neighbors. So where I got stolen from, I got stolen from the projects. So it doesn't really surprise me all that much. I got my wallet stolen, but all is good. They didn't buy anything. I mean, at most it's a minor inconvenience because my driver's license is in my wallet. But fortunately for me, my driver's license was about expired anyway. Like my driver's license expires July this year. So, I mean, I had to get it renewed anyhow. So I just had to get it renewed a little bit earlier than I expected. But I had to get my driver's license renewed anyhow. And I called to see if they used my card any. And fortunately for me, they didn't get any gas. They didn't get a laptop. They didn't go buy a burger. They just took my card. And I mean, yeah, it must have been a 13-year-old boy because they clearly didn't think all the way through, because you can just call and let people know, like, hey, my card has been stolen, so can you please deactivate my card? And it's kind of like you can just call and let people know that your card's been stolen. What I think is what happened is that they mistaken my Kindle Fire for an iPad. They must have thought, because the iPad, it doubles as a phone, and you know they stolen my Kindle from my car, so they must have mistaken it for an iPad. But I was going back in my car. I was only away from my car for a little bit, and they must have mistaken it. So as soon as I noticed that, my card was stolen, I immediately called and like deactivate the card. Nothing was used. Nothing was used. They didn't really affect me. I mean, they just affect me having to get like a new driver's license. Other than which I had to do anyway. Other than that, they didn't really have the opportunity to use my card any. So that was pretty pointless. And I'm pretty sure that they had no idea it was a Kindle Fire. I'm pretty sure they thought it was an iPad, because then they would have had my phone. But I don't have one of those big, huge, fancy phones. I have like this really cheap phone that, if I remember correctly, I got this for free at Straight Talk. And not only that, but you can get, a really nice phone for free at Straight Talk anyway. But there is a library right across from where I work. There, so it's kind of like they couldn't have known it was a Kindle, because there's a library right across from me. I mean, instead of going to get the Kindle, they could have just gone to the library. And not only that, but I mean, my Kindle depends on Wi-Fi connections. You can't get internet anywhere. You would need to go to a place that offers free Wi-Fi. I mean, it, or even music. I have very eccentric, very eclectic music taste. I listen to music in Spanish, like I listen to Enrique Iglesias, but it's like he's singing in Spanish the whole entire time. I have Japanese music, but again, they're like singing in Japanese the whole time. I also have Scandinavian metal, like I have Ghost, I have Him or His Infernal Majesty, I have Malice in Wonderland, and it's kind of like I highly doubt too many people are interested in Scandinavian metal or J-pop or Mexican music that's sung entirely in Spanish. So it's kind of like if they were like, yeah, I get free music, I get free music, it's not going to be anything they're into because when I was like in Job Corps, when I was at Job Corps, which is near the place that's I work at now, but when I was at Job Corps, pretty much everybody like Rihanna, Jay-Z, things like that. So again, I highly doubt that the person who's in the projects, I highly doubt that they are like, yes, I'm really interested in Scandinavian metal. I really like that stuff, or I highly doubt that they would care for any of the books I have in my Kindle, which was kind of a lot like I had John Locke, I just have like Niccolo Machiavelli. Don't think that they would be all that interested in that. At most, according to my mom, they could just give my Kindle Fire to a pawn shop. That's the most they could do. And it's kind of stupid because it's kind of like my Kindle is my only source of entertainment. I am going to notice if my only source of entertainment is gone. Once when I notice my Kindle is gone, I immediately looked for my wallets, which was also gone. So I immediately deactivated the card. Like they would have been better off taking the wallet and leaving the Kindle because if they left the Kindle and just took the card, I mean, I probably wouldn't have even noticed the card was even gone until much later. But because they took my source of entertainment, they left the card there, and it's kind of like the weirdest part is they could have done more damage with the card. At most, with the Kindle, they could have just taken it to a pawn shop. And again, I don't know how many people would want to Kindle Fire because the only thing you could do with it is read books. And I mean, you can accuse me of internalizing white supremacy, but I don't think that that many people in the projects are interested in a Kindle Fire. I don't really see them for avid readers. I mean, they could be, but it's kind of like even with Pew Research would say that rich people read more than poor people. Like, they go by how much the person gets paid. Like if you make over $100,000 per year, if you make less than $30,000 per year, and rich people read far more than poor people. And again, there's the library. There is the library. It's for free, and it's right across from where I work. I am right across from a library. They could easily just, if they're really interested in books, the library is like right there. So it's kind of like, why still a Kindle, which has books that you probably are not interested in? Like I just got finished reading Gallows Hill. I also have books by Ben Shapiro. I highly doubt that they're all that interested. When you could go to the library and take a book that you're actually interested in reading. Get a library card, read a book at the library. It's kind of like um and I could always, buy another Kindle. I mean, especially since I picked up extra hours at work, I would be working more like instead of I was originally working 3 days a week, but now I'm going to be working 6 days a week, 5 or 6 days a week, because I've been asking the person over me for extra hours. So that should, cover the cost of a new Kindle more than cover the cost of a new Kindle. I'm just glad that I'm just glad that they didn't do anything to my card. I mean, I was far more concerned about the card than the Kindle, because it's like the Kindle, you could have that. I mean, do you know what a Kindle is? It's a library. It's a personal library. You just read books from it. Oh, and there's some music in there. It's not really all that special, and it's not all that expensive either. So, I mean, though Mother's Day is coming up, so it could be like, hey mom, look what I got you for Mother's Day, a Kindle, yay. And that could be the case. That could be a case. There is that 13-year-old boy who's always around. So I think it's that 13-year-old kid. Sorry, somebody's mowing the lawn. But that's what I think it is. And I'm just glad that my card isn't affected. But I wasn't really all that worried anyway, because you can call and have your card deactivated anytime. It's kind of like this. This isn't the 1800s. This isn't the early 1990s. This isn't the 1950s or the 1980s. Where if you steal somebody's purse, they're screwed over because they use cash or they use a check. This is a card where a card is better than the time period, the 1980s, where people carried cash or people carried checks, because I could just have it deactivated, have that card deactivated. I'm good to go. So you just took it for nothing, for nothing. Or Kindle must have thought it was an iPad. Thought wrong. And again, I'm not too worried about that. I was more worried about my card in a Kindle. They could keep it. They could sell it to a pawn shop. But for me personally, I would be happy if we get rid of pawn shops, because you could always steal something, sell it to a pawn shop, because my aunt had a problem like that, where my aunt she used to live in a bad neighborhood. She moved, but she used to live there. And there would be people, they would just sit around watching your house. They don't get a jobs. They don't work. They would do nothing but sit around watching your house. They would look at what time you leave. They would look at what time you come home. They would look to see where you keep your spare keys. Like they would be looking, and they would rob you blind, sell everything to a pawn shop, and that's how they make their living. So for me personally, I would like it if all pawn shops were to close, because it would desensitize people from stealing. Because it's kind of like, well, what's the point of stealing something that you probably don't even want and not benefit from it? Because I just don't take people from the projects as avid readers. Again, eternalizing white supremacy, but I just don't think that they're avid readers. And if you are, libraries across the streets. So that's the part that doesn't make any sense. You know, I probably have a bunch of books that you probably hate, and then there's the library across the street, which probably has books that you love. It makes more sense to use the library, which probably has your favorite books, than to have a Kindle, which probably has books you don't even care about. You probably like Niccolo Machiavelli, Ben Shapiro, John Locke, Louis Duncan. It's just pointless. And for me, I could always, get a new Kindle Fire. I mean, it's no big deal. I'm getting extra hours anyways, so it's kind of like, it's in a sense good timing because with the extra hours, it's just gonna be like nothing. It's going to be like nothing even happened. And again, my driver's license was almost expired anyway. So again, I had to get a new one anyway. So their timing was actually, they had really good timing. So I'm not really all that mad. Because it's kind of like when I was a child, I was also like a child. I wasn't in the projects, but I was in the ghetto, and I've done some stealing myself. I've done some stealing myself because, when you're poor, when you're really, really poor and you need deodorants, you need shampoo, you need deodorants, you need soap. I've stolen soap. I was in the ghetto. I've stolen some soap. I've stolen some deodorants. I never ever was too worried about getting caught stealing because if I did, the police would probably be like, she's stolen soap and deodorants. They'll probably just, walk away. They probably would see that I took soap. They probably see I took deodorants. And they'll probably just be like, we're going to leave this alone. Like I stolen toothbrush. I stolen toothpaste because, again, I was really poor living in the ghetto. And when you're really poor, you steal, You're going to steal when you're really poor because it's what it's that or stinking, you know, either steal the soap or stink, steal, toothbrush, toothpaste, or my teeth rock. Um, you know, my teeth would rot and I'll have yellow teeth, steal it or, should I not? And just go to school smelling really bad. Unfortunately, some people in this world are very, very poor and they feel like they don't have a choice, especially if you're a kid and you can't, you're not young enough to work. And sometimes it's another problem entirely. Sometimes there are adults and they pretty much make a living stealing because they would watch other people's houses. They would just watch you leave home, watch you get back from work. They would pay attention to your whole schedule. And when you leave at work, they know what time you leave for work. So they break into your house because they know where you keep your spare keys. They unlock your door. They take everything. They put your spare key back to where your spare key is at. They have everything. They take it to a pawn shop. I mean, it's the way it is, in bad neighborhoods. And to me, that we got to desensitize people from stealing. And I think the way we do it is closing these pawn shops because these people could go to jail. These people go to jail, but they don't care. They don't care that they go to jail. They have a bad life anyway. If your life is down here, if your life is down here, you're not going to care if you go to jail. Because the moment you get back out of jail, you're going to do what you've been doing. You're going to watch a person go to work, watch a person come home, see where they keep the spare keys. You're going to go to where they keep their spare keys. You're going to unlock the door, steal everything from the house, sell it to the pawn shop. And you're going to live that way. Some people don't care. They don't want work. They don't want to work. There are the people who are just in unfortunate situations where they do want better for themselves. And there are people who don't want better than themselves. And it's hard to know what to do with them. It's hard to know, I mean, without, being severe with them, without being like, well, you stolen something, so let's cut your arm off. and unless you want to lose your other arm. hmm Because again, they do not care. They do not care because my aunt had this problem. Cause she lived in a bad neighborhood. My grandmother had this problem because she lived in a bad neighborhood. There are people especially if you live alone, especially if you live alone, they will come to your house. They know where everything is at. They'll rob you. They're not going to get a job. They don't care to get a job. They don't care if they go to jail. You could call the police. They go to jail. They do time. Come back out. Do the same thing. I had a cousin like that. I have a cousin like that. He's been in jail multiple times selling drugs. He gets released. He goes back to selling drugs. Some people, if you are poor enough, you don't care. You don't care. People call the police. It's like call the cops. I don't care. They really don't care. They don't care if they go to jail. So it's kind of a lot like, I'm glad. I'm glad that I live in the 21st century and not the 1980s or, not the 1990s. I am glad I live in a period where if somebody steals my card, all I had to do is call the people up, say my card has been stolen, and have my card deactivated. I am glad I live in a time like that because now they can't use it. And I checked with them. Like I called a check and they were a lot like, nothing's been taken out. Like they went over like, did you spend anything like they were like, did you spend anything on the 13th? Did you spend anything on the 10th? Did they went through everything with me? They took nothing. Took nothing. And if they are like just trying to get food, if they need to put my Kindle in a pawn shop just so that they could eat because they're starving, I feel bad for them and they could have it. And you know, the poor they could have it really rough. So if they really need it for food, then I'm glad they have it because nobody should starve. Nobody should starve to death. So if they really need it for food, if they really needed it, I can't really be angry at a person in need because I was in that situation as a teenager where I've stolen soap, I've stolen deodorant, stolen toothbrush, stolen, toothpaste. I was back there myself. So if they really needed to steal my candle, take it to the pawn shop and say, man, now I get to eat. Now I could eat, you know. And it's kind of like I don't want anybody to starve. So if they could get some to eat, but still, I mean, still it is kind of stupid because if they really needed to eat that badly, they could have bought a bunch of groceries with my card and just, left the Kindle in my car and I wouldn't have even noticed it was missing, the wallet's missing. It's the fact that they took the Kindle that I noticed that my wallet was missing. And that's the way I was able to call my card. In other words, they really, if they were hungry, they really could have bought like a bunch of canned goods. They could have gone to the nearest Walmart because Walmart is open 24/7. They could have bought so much canned goods. They could have bought $200, $500 worth of canned goods and do some real damage. But instead, the damage they done doesn't really compare to the damage they could have done, and I'm not angry because again things could have been a lot worse because I be hearing gunshots over there all the time and at least they didn't come with me at a gun. Because they could have just brought a gun with them, like, yeah, I got my gun with me, gonna shoot you. They could have, used the gun on me. They could have, it could have been a whole lot worse because this is the projects we're talking about. So at least it's not, At least they didn't put a gun on me. At least they didn't, push me to the ground and take hits. At least, or kind of like something that happened to my mom not that long ago. What happened to my mom is that they broke into the trunk of her car. They actually they actually broke into the trunk of her car, took everything out, and it is what it is. If somebody wants to rob you, there's really nothing you could really do to prevent them all that much. I'm just glad that the damage they did isn't in comparison because I called them right away, and my driver's license, it was about to expire anyway, and the library's behind me. So if they did it for entertainment, if they're that type of people, library was right behind me. But I think that they're just gonna take it to the pawn shop and perhaps get something to eat. And again, if they want better for themselves, if they want a job, and getting a job is kind of hard because there's a catch-22 where if you don't have enough experience, like if you don't have enough experience, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have enough experience. She could go to that catch-22 period. And it's tough for the people who really do want better. They don't want to steal. They hate that they're stealing. Because, let me tell you, when I was stealing deodorants, and when I was stealing toothbrush and toothpaste and soap, I hated stealing. I absolutely hated it. And I wanted better for myself. I wanted a better job. I absolutely hated that. But I did it, anyway. And so if they're in that situation where I was, where they're just trying to get some soap, some deodorants, some food, if they're trying to get some food, I feel for them. I feel for them. Just take it. Just take it so that you can eat. Nobody should starve. But if they're one of those people who don't bother, they just, they don't care. They're not even trying. To me, we should figure out a way to deal with those people. And I would say for pawn shops to close down, because pawn shops is a great way for thieves to make a living. Like, I live in a white neighborhood, or a predominantly white neighborhood. I mean, my neighbors are Mexican, and there's black people two doors down, but it's still a predominantly white neighborhood, and there's like not a single pawn shop anywhere. You do not see, I haven't seen a pawn shop living in a predominantly white neighborhood. But going to, like, the ghetto and the projects, you see pawn shops everywhere. That's because they can make a living stealing. They can make a living watching you leave your house, watching where you keep your spare keys, getting your spare keys, getting into your house, stealing everything, selling it to the pawn shop. We just need to put people in a position where they can steal, and it would be down if they had similar likes and interests to you. Because let me tell you this, when I was in Job Corps, nobody stolen anything from me. Nobody. You want to know why people didn't steal from me at Job Corps? I'll tell you why. I brought things with me that nobody would want. You know what I brought to, Shop Corps? I brought some like really old clothes, some really old, dingy clothes with holes in them. They didn't want that. But people steal, they steal the good stuff. People will be stealing Victoria's Secret bras and panties. People will be stealing, Nikes. It's like, ooh, people steal the good stuff. People steal things that they like. But when you steal something, you're not going to steal like an old raggedy shirt with holes in them. It's like, what's the point of this? You're going to steal that Victoria's Secret bra, Victoria's Secret panties, Victoria's Secret. That's the reason I never got stolen from at Shop Corps. And the people who brought all the good stuff, they be like, Victoria's Secret, bras and panties. Victoria's Secret this and that. Nikes, they're the ones who get stuff in from their friends. But me, I didn't get stolen from, nobody took anything from me. And for me, I have my sister's car. My sister passed away. I have my sister's car, and my car is like really old. It's like a 1990s car. So they didn't take anything with that broken down car. Um, they just took my Kindle, and again, with the extra hours I'm getting, just get a new one. It's no big deal. Um, and I just, just wanted to share that personal story with you, because for me, YouTube, YouTube is much more like an online, a diary. I keep this YouTube channel as a diary for me. It's for me to just talk about my opinions. I'm not Sargon. I'm not a person who's like a political commentary or a political analyst. For me, I am just having a diary. So while people are have a written diary, I have a spoken diary. So that's all, like, dislike, you know, I don't care if you like or dislike it. And if you want to unsub me, that's fine. But for me, YouTube is just a diary. It's me saying my thoughts out loud. It's not, it's not for me trying to be, a media reporter or anything. So that's what I had to say. Bye bye.